Day 13 of the No Masturbation Challenge. May 23rd. Stored loss. This sharing of our story with our sponsor or informed counselor reveals destructive patterns in our adult lives while illuminating abuses from our childhood. We also begin to see our grief or stored loss lying beneath our decisions to wrong ourselves and others. BRB, page 110. Some of our shares with our fellow travelers are about the deeper, self destructive patterns we've been acting out. We may have assumed that we were helpless to change these patterns. Hope seemed to have vanished from our lives. ACA restores the hope that we can change. The program teaches us that our destructive patterns are learned in childhood and continue to affect us as adults. The knowledge that we ourselves aren't self destructive gives us hope to change what we thought was an unchangeable aspect of ourselves. It slowly becomes clear to us that unexpressed grief is at the root of all the decisions and actions that resulted in hurting ourselves and others. Finally, relief from these habits can be seen as we raise our sights and see step two as giving us the hope we thought was forever lost. Here is our affirmation. On this day, I will share with my fellow travelers my deeper self destructive patterns in order to help release them. I will express the grief and loss that underpin these habits as I look at step two with a renewed sense of hope. And that's copyright 2013 Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, World Service Organization. Your boy Jeffrey B here, healing shame. Today is day 13 of the No Masturbation Challenge. Now, look, all we got to do is go back to why I even started using masturbation, a self destructive, addictive behavior in the first place. But before I do that, I want to also express the fact that I am an alcoholic in recovery with over 3.5 years sober from booze. It doesn't mean every day's been emotionally sober. It doesn't mean I haven't dabbled in a couple of other things like getting a caffeine addiction or getting a nicotine addiction or even popping some Benadryl, to get a little sleepy, drowsy buzz or whatever. Yeah, those things have happened. But from booze, man, over 3.5 years. And that's what matters. The most important thing, though, is looking at what's under the surface here. What's at the root? It says in this reading, unexpressed grief is at the root of all my self destructive behaviors and harm to others. Boom. Okay. So basically, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, there was so much pain going on around me, so much chaos in the house, so much violence, so much loss and sadness and depression and fear. Nobody, the adults who were supposed to be there, didn't do a good job, period. It's just how it is. They didn't know how to handle it themselves. They ran away from it. They either weren't there or they ran, or they were the perpetrators or the victims or both, back and forth. And so the children, me and my brothers, were the ones who had to bear the consequences, bear, the pain, bear the brunt of all of that crap, that shit that was going on. So basically, I was using masturbation to escape my unexpressed grief. Because I had a lot of grief there. I had a lot of pain, a lot of loss, and I didn't have any other way to talk about it because it was don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. You couldn't just come out and say, hey, look, I'm sick of you guys fighting. I'm having a hard time. No, in that house, no, it was not possible. So instead of being able to talk about what the pain and the shit I was going through, I was acting it out in other ways. I was getting in trouble at school. I was taking it out on the dog, or tormenting whatever was in my way, my younger brother, whatever. And then of course that led to masturbation, pornography, and that was a great way to try to get around the unexpressed grief, because there was no way to express the grief, so I've got to try to dissociate from it. And that's where the porn and masturbation, the PNM, came in. And then in the process of that, I was taking hits of penis shame, jealousy, insecurity. All that shit was coming out, and on top of it, it just was a nasty downward spiral. And nobody was there to correct it. No parent was there to say, "Hey, we need to get this guy help." It was not available. So I had to go all the way down. Ultimately, what it led to was alcoholism. And I know that this reading is true, and what it says, all my self-destructive behaviors are as a result of my unexpressed grief. And I can tell you that's a fact, because um, when I would drink alcohol, I would get really drunk, and by the end of that big binge, that drunk escapade, that drunk nightmare, drunken fucking shit, I would basically be crying on the floor after having broken everything in the room, smashed the computers, broke the desk. After all that, I was crying about my brothers. Oh my gosh, I miss Greg. I miss my brothers, Greg and Mike. I love them. I want to see them. I want to have a relationship with them again. Why aren't they here? Why am I not there? What the fuck am I doing in China? Why are they there? I'm here. Why aren't we talking? What's going on? I was losing my mind, because that was the unexpressed grief, the loss of childhood, the loss of relationship with my brothers, not being together, not talking much. That's what would come out at the end of my drunken episodes. And yeah, so what can I do about it today? So I know that's still going on. I've got a lot of unexpressed grief, uh, especially now. There's no contact at all with either of my brothers now, because I expressed some things to my younger brother. He couldn't handle it. And I asked him, you can't be direct with these people. My family members, brothers, mother, those three mainly, there is no way to directly go to them and say, "Look, I'm thinking this, or I'm feeling this. Let's talk it out." No effing way. They cannot, they will not handle it. They will run as far away as fast as possible from that as they can. Because I don't know why. I guess they just got so used to running from pain. They're still running from pain. They're still running from everything. And or they just don't want to deal with it. And because that's going to cause more pain. I remember one time I talked to my younger brother. My father had called about Thanksgiving of 2003. 2003. How many years ago was that? Yeah, 20 years ago. So about 20 years ago, he called trying to connect with us one last time, or at least give it another shot. And I was like, "Hey, Dad called. You want to talk to him?" I told my younger brother. He was like, "Why would I want to reopen all that pain? Why would I want to deal with that again?" So he stuffed it down inside, like many people do, like most of our society, American society, does. Most of the world does. They stuff it inside and say they're doing good because they have a job and money in the bank. "I'm doing great." No, you're not, buddy. No, you're not. You think you are, and then you jump off that roof when you're freaking 70 years old. So it's an unexpressed grief, man, and most people to some extent are infected by unexpressed grief. They just don't want to admit it. So I told him that to my brother, but I did reconnect with Dad, and I'm glad I did, because I've actually been able to process that grief. He's got it stuffed inside. I've processed it out, And yeah, that's how it is. So today, all we can do is we try to heal the best we can, practice self love, get out there, talk to your fellow ACAs, talk to your friends, your counselor, whoever it is, whoever you can talk to, and express that grief. Cry, cry, cry about it. You got to cry this shit out, man. And I need to cry more. So that's what's going on, day 13. I already told you how the masturbation came about. Really, this is not about masturbation. It's about healing shame and it's about expressing grief. Because the unexpressed grief caused the masturbation. The unexpressed grief caused the alcohol abuse. The unexpressed grief caused the codependence. All those things, the unexpressed grief caused the lack of dental hygiene. And now I'm having to fix that at 44 years old. That unexpressed grief has caused everything. Caused me to punch others, hurt others, rage against others, not connect with others, disconnect, distance myself, or to go no contact, cut people out of my life. That's all unexpressed grief. Anybody who's doing that to you means they're still sick and they still have unexpressed grief. So until they express that grief and get it out, they're not going to come around. They have to heal too. And it takes a while. Keep expressing that grief, keep crying about it, and you're going to make it. Until next time, all the best.